Hey UConn Nation, it's KK Arnold here. If you're looking for the latest UConn women's basketball content, go subscribe to Listen Up to Phil and Ryan. Go Huskies!
Welcome back to Listen Up. And UConn has just completed their final game. They completed it yesterday, going undefeated, a perfect 4-0 on the trip. It wasn't quite as easy as some might have thought, but UConn did go undefeated. Their final stop of the European tour resided in Murano, an island off of Venice, Italy, where the Huskies would face Pecs, who are a team from the country of Hungary. It probably wasn't intentional that UConn saved the best team for last, and they're definitely their toughest opponent. But starting lineup switched back to the same as it was for game two. Cadence Samuels replaces Caroline Ducharme, and apparently I saw this yesterday evening when I was gathering my notes for today's episode. Caroline was hit in the face during their third game against the Italian All-Stars in the second quarter, and she did not return to that game. So that kind of explains why she had such low numbers for the box score. So Caroline has gotten injured twice during this 4-game trip. A little concerning. We can only hope that this doesn't happen. This isn't the case in the regular season, but it is a little concerning that she has gotten injured twice out of these 4 games. But UConn only found themselves up by 3 points at the end of the first quarter and only up by 3 points at halftime. UConn would pull away, though, in the third quarter and extended their lead to 9 points. And I would say as well, we can probably expect this more times than not during the regular season from this team to just come out at halftime. Sometimes UConn tends to start out a little slow in the first half, and Gino, I don't know what he does, gives them a speech, some type of motivation. They figure a couple things out in the locker room, and they always usually come out firing in the second half. UConn would go on to defeat Pecs 85-66 to go perfect 4-0 on the European tour. And I think overall, I would think you would agree as well. I think this trip was a great success for the UConn Huskies.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird how you leave it off just on that note, because I think the only, a great article again by CT Insiders, Maggie Vanoni. I really, to be honest with you, and I hope that you and everybody else agrees with me this time, because I know we have a lot of disagreements on this podcast. But hey, that's what makes it fun sometimes, Ryan. Just a little side note, or I guess you can call it my overall main theme of today. One, I love seeing them in game action on this tour. 2, I'm glad it's over. 3, I think my biggest takeaway, and it's weird, right? Because if you're talking about any other team, and well, of course, nobody wants injuries. I get it. And here we go. I'm sure you know what I'm getting at. Specifically, when you talk about this team, the UConn Huskies, women's basketball team, I think, to be honest with you, again, if we're talking about any other team, close to any other team, it's weird, right? In this country, I don't think that right out of our mouth, we talk about, oh, thank God this tour is over without any injuries. I mean, you mentioned what, Ducharme hit in the face?
Yeah.
So with that said, that one injury, but I don't think anything major, correct me if I'm wrong. I had it in the back of my mind all along when I found out about this tour. But, Ryan, it looks like finally, and I get it, this is not real game action, but it doesn't count at the end of the day. But, hey, they got through it. Without what? Without any injuries. I mean, to be honest with you, again, if we were talking about any other team, I don't think that I would jump to that topic right away like I just did today.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate too because we've talked a lot about during the all season all of the talent on this team, and of course already losing one player to even begin before the season starts. Of course, that was Jana El Alfi and how great she was playing during that World Cup. Yeah, and it is a good point. I mean, only one minor injury. Hopefully, it's minor for Caroline Ducharme. I really hope for her it doesn't continue during the whole season like it was last year, the same type of injuries, head and neck area. So hopefully for her, So that stuff kind of clears up before the regular season. But yeah, I mean, I think overall the tour was a great success in terms of how the team played. There's obviously, like we talked about with the comments a little bit, you guys have been mentioning a couple mistakes here and there. Missed a couple gimmies down low, a couple layups. There's definitely a lot of things that UConn can fix, and I'm pretty positive that they will get a lot of this stuff together before the first game of the season that actually counts towards their record. But again, yesterday, Azzi Fudd, I wanted to mention this, knocking down 6 3-pointers, led the team again with 24 points. Aubrey Griffin with another strong, very strong performance, 14 points, 3 steals for her. Really proud of the way that she's been playing so far. And again, KK Arnold, another great scoring performance from her. KK and Aaliyah both with 12 points. And this is pretty important as well. Amari DeBerry did play in that game yesterday, her first appearance. It doesn't provide the how many minutes each player gets during these games. I don't imagine she played a ton of minutes, only scoring 2 points, I believe. But the important thing is that she did play in this game. So definitely a positive for Amari that she did see minutes.
All right, comment time, Ryan. And, Jason D'Amico's comment goes right along with this. How about this? The Huskies are staying at the JW Marriott Resort in Venice, which is not only a 5-star resort and spa, but is also nestled away on its own private island in Venice. And this is according to CT Insider. It's a luxurious retreat, especially playing the team's final game of its European tour. So pretty much like the UConn Huskies feel like they just took a tour across country to play in the Super Bowl or something, right? I mean, this was a lot more. And this goes into what Jason D'Amico commented on the last video. Jason goes, the game did not matter. It was all about the food. Peace.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the team and all the coaches definitely ate pretty well. I'm sure the food was quite delicious down there. And we kind of talked about that a little bit before the trip. And not only was, seeing these girls back in action playing these games, but just for the team's perspective, going out of country, I'm sure not a lot of them have been to some of these places that they visited in Europe. So it was good to see the team bond a little bit, do all these activities together. Like I mentioned, I'm seeing all these videos and pictures on social media of everybody having a good time with each other, visited so many places and had that cooking competition and did a bunch of other things as well. So from that perspective, it was definitely great to see them doing something outside of basketball.
This is a good one. How about Randall Dawes, KK Arnold? That's always a KK Arnold, period. And then he goes, will be a UConn great. Oh my, wouldn't that be a dream come true? Let me tell you, Ryan.
Yeah, that's really all you need to say is just KK Arnold from this European tour. It was so great to see how well she played in every single game, all 4 games. She put on a spectacular performance, showed off her defensive skills in the game, the third game, and all around, all 4 games showed and proved to us how great of an offensive talent that she is. Obviously, still has a lot of room to improve throughout, hopefully, all 4 of these seasons that we get to watch her play in UConn. So I think the ceiling is very, 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 very high for KK Arnold. And I know I'm speaking for both of us when I say this. We cannot wait to watch her for hopefully all 4 years in UConn.
We cannot wait to see game action against the Maryland Terps. How about that? Let me stop right there while I get way ahead of myself. Adam Edmonds, one of the things I've been most impressed about is the defensive prowess of the freshmen. They all seem like that's a big focus. KK is crazy quick and seems like she could be just as annoying to play against Nika. Samuels is long and lanky for a guard. Shade is so balanced with a broad skill set. I could see Gino bringing them in to play the press against other teams.
Yeah, I think definitely from this tour, I think Gino and all the coaching staff has learned a lot about their freshmen, and part of the great success that all these games have brought a big reason is because of the freshmen, and we talked about it after every game, how well they've played, all of them. And also Ice Brady as well, not a freshman, but she did miss all last season. Wanted to bring her up real quick because she played really well. 7 points, added 7 more points in yesterday's game. But I think all 4 games, Ice Brady has been playing pretty solid basketball. So along with the freshmen, I think Ice Brady, Ayanna Patterson, who hasn't been able to play during these games, but I think some of the freshmen and sophomores on this team can really be a great asset to the UConn Huskies for the whole entire season.
Tyson 333. This is interesting. No, don't do that to Caroline. It was Azzi who was sick and played below standard. Ducharme had 9 points and was the one of the few not scared of South Carolina that game, and she was on a bad hip. I believe she was the second leading scorer that game behind Paige, who had 14 points. 3 seniors were on that squad. That was bothered me the most about the loss. The seniors were embarrassing. Never seen Husky seniors perform that bad on a big stage.
Yeah, that was another big thing about that championship game, and it was in fact Azzi Fudd. I'm glad they brought that up, who was ill before the game, and Caroline did play good the whole entire season, even though we found out in the off season she was injured with that hip injury. But it definitely was very disappointing after that game. Those 3 seniors didn't perform obviously how we all thought they would and how we all knew they could perform, that they did the whole season before that championship game. But hopefully, we've reset now, got a lot of new talent, exciting young talent, and UConn. Of course, a couple of the seniors who are the veterans on this team, expect them to lead the team this season, hopefully back to another championship appearance.
This one's interesting, too. A couple of observations after watching the game versus the Italian All-Stars. The freshmen KKQ and Ashlyn will be contributors this season. Gino will have to rotate them in the lineup. They produce, Ryan. They produce, he says. I see KK getting major minutes, too many missed layups in this game, especially by Aubrey. I'm sure they will clean this up. UConn will definitely be a pressing ball pressure team this season for all 4 quarters. And I'll just stop right there. But yeah, going along with that, I'm glad he put in capital letters, they produce, because I feel like sometimes I'm no coach, Ryan. I was never a player. I'm sure you could tell that, huh? With my lack of knowledge. No, just kidding. But hey, in all seriousness, I'm telling you right now, at the end of the day, Ryan, what is it that wins ball games? It's producing what? Points. It's not, Ryan, who has the most assists? Ryan, who has the most rebounds?
Yeah, I think the important thing is that, like I said before, all these players, especially the freshmen, I think they're going to get an opportunity throughout the season to get minutes. And the important thing is, like they just mentioned, is that they produced. And that's what they did during this tour. And hopefully that provides Gino with a lot more confidence for him to be able to put them out on the court when it really matters during the regular season, as we get late into January, February, the later months, as we're leading up and the playoff chase is heating up a little bit for March Madness. So like I said, I think the freshmen and some of the sophomores on this team can have a really big impact and see a lot of big minutes off the bench. And who knows, maybe, who knows how the season's going to go. Maybe a couple spot starts here and there for some of these teams, like we saw out of Caden Samuels in place of Caroline Ducharme in 2 games of this tour.
How about this one to leave it off, Ryan? Chester Myasek. I know I'm going way over time, longer than usual. This is just a perfect comment, Ryan, to leave it off on a great Thursday. This is just 2 single malt dudes chatting. Where's the game tapes? Ryan, I'm never going to. And as far as everybody else, Ryan, you already know my answer, and my comment will never change. We love you too.
Yeah, and I said the exact same thing with you too.
All right, Ryan. Again, a great Thursday, and I will leave it off right there. I won't be back with you until Tuesday of next week. So, Ryan, have a great weekend. And don't forget, love means always praying for greater happiness for everyone. Ryan, don't forget, God is good. Phil and Rye on Listen Up.